Hello everyone, welcome to the Weeb Initiative. I'm your host, the Weeb. This is the show where every other week I'll be talking about anime, manga, and everything between. This week we'll be talking about Strawberry Panic. This is one really, first off, old, and second off, really out there anime. Anyways, I'll get to that. So, first off, spoiler alert, I'll be talking about the relevant part of the story, anyways, the so relevant part of the story. And although the anime does not have plot twists, it does have a revelation towards the end. That's the, let's say, the one of the maybe half of the whole story. So if you're aware of that, and well, that's pretty much it. So first the stats. This one's kind of a mess. The original concept for Strawberry Panic was a series of light novels with a male demographic from what appears in Wikipedia. There were 18 magazine issues of the light novel. It went through December 2003 to July 2005. Later came the manga from September 2005 to February 2007, and then the light novel kind of restarted, was republished since the original author was succeeded by another one. And let's just get this out of the way. I was going to review the manga, but from what I could find, it was not licensed for the Western market, at the very least, not really well enough to get some good reach. And what results on that is that the most of the things I can find in the internet, in the Western side of the world, is that I could only find 12 of the, from what I got, 24 total chapters of the manga, and they're both in scanlations. So basically I don't have a official way to find it, and for the most part I just dropped the manga review because I could not find the ending. And then we get to the anime. The anime ran from April 2006 to September 2006. It has 26 episodes. It was made by Madhouse, who I'll get to that, but just made by Madhouse in 2006. So what's this? I just want to give a bit of a backstory. So how did I get to find Strawberry Panic as a anime I would watch? So just a little backstory. So around 2014, 15 or 16, this 3-year gap, I don't actually remember, there was this kind of, let's say, surge in Yuri anime manga. From what I remember, the ones that really pushed me towards it was Citrus and NTR Trap. Both of them don't really take me to making a review of them. Maybe sometime in the future I will just do a bunch of manga or anime together, but the thing is, both of them are Yuri stuff, and they are really new age Yuri, so the approach is kind of different. And so I wanted let's say a classic Yuri anime to watch. To those who don't know, Yuri is basically lesbian love, a girl love. Girl love they call it in Japan. Basically, a romance between two girls. That's the thing about the Yuri tag. And I just wanted a classic Yuri anime to watch and see what was the approach back then, right? So back in the, let's say, early 2000s. And I tried watching it once I got to, as far as I remember, the third episode and dropped it because, well, it's quite boring. I'll get to that, but that's the basic spiel. So what's the story about before I even start to critique it? Forget that. Let's critique it right now. I gotta be honest with you guys. If there's one thing I have to say is that it's not that the anime is strictly bad. The ending is pretty bad, but the anime itself, it's not strictly bad. The thing is, it's really boring for the first part, and I have a strict policy about if it takes too long to get good, you have the right to drop it, because you don't actually need some time of the anime to be wasted in bad parts to it to get good. It needs to be good throughout and be consistently good. That's my personal policy. Each one to their own. I'm just saying, in my opinion, it's a failure. First for that and later for the other things I'll get to. So let's get to the story. So the story is okay. Let's start with the cast, because it's really easier to present like that. So you got this hill in a no specified Japanese city that is called Astrea. In this hill there's one campus for 3 schools and it's never really explained, so just take it as it is. So there are 3 schools in this hill: Miyator, Spica, and Lerin. At the very least, Lerin is how they call it in the anime. So anyways, I don't have the really let's say down to earth real names, but that's how it is. And for the most part, these 3 schools are onboarding schools for only girls, and they are Catholic religious schools from what we gather. And basically it's an onboarding school with only girls, and prime time let's say prime place to get some Yuri love, let's say. At the very least, the setting is pretty relatable to things we see nowadays. So basically that's the environment we have. So we have this onboarding school, and the girls mostly, for 99% of the time, are there and only there. So to the cast, we get, and this is really they have a mode basically for the cast. So for each of the 3 schools, we get to meet the upperclassmen, the let's say the middleclassmen, I would say seniors, freshmen. I don't actually know how to say this in English, but that's basically the senpais, the girls in the middle, and the kohais. So the upperclassmen that are going to graduate, let's say the girls in the same age bracket of the main character, and the girls below them. And so for Miyator, who that is let's say the main school, we get to meet first the main character of let's say the main character of the series, that is Aoi Nagisa, who's this transfer student that comes straight out of nowhere, because apparently, from what we gather, the normal thing to do in these 3 schools is to go from junior high to high school and so on. And transfer students are pretty rare. But anyways, that's just the introduction we get. We get to meet also Tamao, who's Nagisa roommate, and that's the middle age bracket basically. We get to meet some other side characters, but they don't actually affect the story so much, so just gloss over it. We get to meet the lower classman in Miyator is only Chiyo. I don't remember the surnames for most most of the cast because I can't be bored. There are so many characters they present. And Chio has, and this is also part of the mode, you see in a lot of parts that there are these paradigms they follow. So the lower classmen will always love someone from an upper class. So actually Chio, we get to know later that she loves Nagisa, and also about the mode. Always the roommate of the main character will love her, so Tama loves Nagisa also. And then we get to meet the upperclassmen. The really main upperclassman is Shizuma. Shizuma is the one of the girls in the cover. The other girl is Nagisa in the cover. So Shizuma is the love interest of Nagisa. And we get to meet also Rokujo Miyuki. Miyuki is Shizuma's roommate, and she also loves her, but that's the thing we get to know way later in the story. At this point, I present like six characters, and I already feel like this is I already lost some people, but let's just continue. So we then get to the second main school, that is Spica. Spica, we get to meet the main character bracket is Hikari and Yaya. Hikari is the main girl from Spica, and Yaya is her roommate who also loves her. What can I say? It's molded. From the lower class, we get to meet Tsubomi, who's a by the book tsundere who loves Hikari. And from the upper class, we get to meet the student council president that I don't remember the name. And the two, let's say, antagonists of the whole series, they're Kaname and Momomi, who are roommates and also lovers. It's in the first part where they appear, they already get to do some things that you would like question in a Christian environment, let's say. So that's the cast for Spica. And for Lerin, we get to meet just the student council president, who is Chikaru, and her, let's say, her club mates for the most part. It's never really explained. They are from the lower class, so like Chiyo, like Tsubomi, but they live side by side with the student council. There are Kagome, Kizuna, and Remon, and that's basically it for the cast. So what's the story about? Oh boy, let's just say I nearly slept for the first season, like audibly yawning and really blinking really heavily for like the first 12 episodes. It's terrible. It's so mundane because they have to introduce all this. Let's say they have to pad their time because apparently they had this 26 episode contract, but the manga is so smaller in terms of let's say content, and the manga outright tells the story on another axis altogether. I'll talk more about it later, but the thing is, the manga and the anime are kind of the same story but told differently. I'll get to that later. Anyways, the first part of the anime is just really padding and context driven things, because if you try to read the manga in the first place, you already know how the anime kinda ends. You already know the objectives from where we need to go, and basically that just the anime just shows and puts a lot of context in the ending, where the manga did not have that luxury. It's the first time that I see an anime way more padded than the manga, and that's really impressive, to say the least. As a story piece, as let's say an example of something happening differently, stud case of an anime that really could put more time into developing, let's say developing the characters. Did you hear the air quotes? Developing the characters rather than the manga, but that's not the point. So the thing is, the first 12 episodes are pretty bad. The first 11th, because the 12th episode is the, let's say, the herald of the good things to come, or the better things to come, right? I just have to put this one note before I even start. The thing is, from episode 1 to episode, I think was 7, I was really yawning really loud, and I really was almost putting off making this review altogether, because at that point the anime is so mundane, it's so vanilla. It's like, grab vanilla extract and just gulp it down. Like, my man, it lacks conflict, it lacks things actually happening. And for me, who kind of started the manga, that really pissed me off, because the manga gets straight to the action, straight to the thing, and the anime just take their sweet time, just with some random stories throughout the school and the cast, and girls who don't actually move the plot a lot, and just like some of the episodes actually like give some development, some hints towards, oh, so this girl likes this girl, this is a thing that happens later, and so on and so forth. But it does not add anything to the overall plot, and that really pisses me off. But episode 7 saves this, because it is the first hint of conflict the anime has. So at this point I should already said it, but what's the whole thing with Strawberry Panic, right? So there's this thing, the 3 schools have this tradition of electing someone they call the étoile. I don't speak French, it's star in French. They call it étoile in Japanese. And the thing is, in the manga they say it's more of a for the name, for the just a showy kind of thing. It's they elect the girl who represents the 3 schools, so she gotta be beautiful, she gotta be composed, she gotta be intelligent, athletic, and the whole spiel of the ideal of the 3 schools. But the anime changes that. The anime shows that the Tuaro has power of choosing between the student councils and some other duties and stuff. For the sake of this review, I'll be just taking the approach of the anime, because the manga I could not read entirely, so just throw it out there. The thing is, right, so at this point we get to meet Amane, who's from Spica and is Hikari's love interest. She's more of a tomboyish kind of girl. You could say she's beautiful. I don't. That's not the part where I need to give my critique on. But anyways, the thing is, Amane is the Hikari's love interest, and she's the one that student council president from Spica wants to run for Etoaro. And the thing is, the other two girls from the student council, Kaname and Momomi, they want them to run for Etoaro. So Kaname's, and this is the thing with audio, right? Both of the names, Amane and Kaname, are pretty similar. So I will try to make this clear. So Kaname does not like Amane. Oh boy, I am getting confused now. And basically, she wants Amane out of the running. And so at this point, Amane and Hikari have this kind of progressing relationship between their both of them in a romantic way. It is not so much it's not hidden or a secret. It's more like of not committed yet at that point. And basically Kaname and Momomi straight up, and I will say this, straight up try to NTR Hikari out of Amane's hand. Let's say just that. And the thing is, right, this happens in episode 7, and I was livid because it was the best part of the whole anime at that point, and it wasn't nearly NTR happening in a fucking anime from 2006. Like, what in the actual hell did I just watch? And at that point, I was just laughing because, my man, what in the hell just happened? So, just for context, right? Till that point, nothing happened. Just this vanilla school life kind of stuff from all parts. And when I see it, there's NTR happening. Like, what in the actual fuck? But anyways, it never does happen. They try to do it, and Amane eventually just gets on with it and stops them. And let's just say nothing happens to them as a consequence. They just let it slide and whatever. So that's episode 7. And from episode 7 to episode 12, I kind of slept again, basically. But episode 12, I have to say, and just really a small side note, episode, I think it was 11, they have the beach episode, and it's the most safe beach episode I ever seen in years. It is so early 2000. It's so funny. The girls have these safe bikinis and swimsuits. Just for context, you don't see the upperclassmen in swimsuits. You just see the main girls, just them, and it's super safe. It's so strange nowadays to see something like that, because you think about a beach episode, you think about any beach episode, so just bikinis and maybe one or two, let's say, tropes and cliches happening, but nothing happens. Nothing really. It's amazing. It's amazing. As a history piece, this anime is amazing. As an anime to appreciate, not so much. Anyways, so this is the side note. Episode 12, what happens in episode 12? Episode 12 is kind of the first conflict between the girls from Yator. So at this point, Nagisa is really in love with Shizuma, and Shizuma is kind of already in love with Nagisa too. Tabao already has the feelings for Nagisa, and she already got it that Shizuma is her love rival, and she knows she will lose. So Tamao is Nagisa's roommate, but she really knows Nagisa really has only eyes for Shizuma. And Shizuma is the the current Etoara. So she has all these, let's say, this aura around her of being the model of the whole school. And at this point you have this metaphorical, let's say, I would say it's a metaphorical fight between Shizuma and Tamao that is whether or not who Nagisa will choose at the end, right? And I'll not spoil it so much, but I would just say the first kiss of Nagisa and Shizuma after fucking 12 episodes finally happens. And it happens, I was saying in an esoteric kind of way. Anyways, it just happens. I was really happy when it happened. I was like, oh my god, maybe this will finally bring the good things. This will finally bring the part I saw in the manga and the part that I really want to watch, because I came here to see something happen and still nothing happened. I just platonic love, and goddamn, I blacked out there for a minute. But the thing, and I'm not playing this out, towards this part I was really, really, really happy. Oh boy. Anyways, get on with the story. It's been 30 minutes and I didn't get to the critique yet because I want to bash this so bad. So from episode 12 to episode 26, the anime really picks up. It comes out to me at the very least like the guys in the studio really became more aggressive towards how much they could push it. I don't know if it was some kind of behind the scenes kind of stuff, but at this point the feelings kind of begin to flow, and the kissing and the action and the conflict really start going up. So episode 12 we have this thing with Shizuma and Nagisa. Episode 13, oh boy, we get this real fight between Hikari and Yaya, who are roommates, right? And just straight up, Yaya just kisses Hikari out of nowhere. It's really just like, what is happening? What did they do behind the scenes? Because from that point, at that point, we haven't seen something actually happen. And back to back 2 episodes, we get this really messed up situation where the main girls are just confused and the love interests are kind of getting out there, and Yaya is not even a love interest. She's the unrequired love, and man, it's so messed up but so awesome. And from then on, the things just start to get really really, really nice. So episode 14 is a really wholesome episode between Hikari and Yaya because they make up. Episode 15, we have some, I would say some fan service, because the 3 schools have this joint school festival, and they have this whole thing about the play that is made by the girls in the onboarding side of the school. And basically, really, overall, it ends up with Shizuma and Nagisa acting together in a romance kind of thing. Pretty wholesome, pretty okay. So the next big thing is episode 17. Episode 17 marks to me the beginning of the end of the series, because from episode 17 the train never stops from there. Let's just say episode 17 we get finally the review of why there is only one Etoile, because the thing is, right, I already told you guys that, for example, Kaname and Momomi want to run for Etoile, the both of them, and that's because Etoile are elected as a pair, but Shizuma does not have a pair and she's Etoile. So Nagisa asks why there's only one when apparently the election goes to pairs. And then we start to get into the Kaori arc, let's say. Kaori was this girl from a lower classman for Shizuma. That was the original Etoile with Shizuma because she was the girl who Shizuma fell in love with and took her to be Etoile. But the thing is, right, why is Kaori no longer with us? Because she passed away because of some unspecified disease, and that's pretty messed up, right? At this point, the bombshells just start dropping, the hot news and discoveries and all, and this really crumbles the notion of that Nagisa has towards Shizuma, because Nagisa at this point really loves Shizuma, but she did not commit to anything, and now that she was going to commit, kind of ask her out or something, she learns that actually Shizuma already had a lover that she lost, and then we can only infer the whole thing where it's like she's getting just to be a substitute. Shizuma actually still loves Kaori even after like 2 years that she passed away, and this whole the whole shebang. It's really messed up. And so we get this whole thing where Shizuma tries to come out and confess to Nagisa, but at the last moment, and oh boy, I nearly dropped right there. The moment they are going to make out, the moment she remembers the other girl, she remembers Kaori, and at that point, oh boy, I was so mad. Like, you have 8 episodes to end the anime. What in the heck are you doing? Like, my man, what are you doing? Why take this detour? And this is let's say the first detour they take. Because for no apparent reason, because at this point Shizuma is unknown value. She does not express anything. At this point you don't know anything about her, really. She just seemed like this mysterious girl who nobody really knows what she's thinking, what she's going to do. Although she's Etoile, she's the model of the whole school, she does not show anything really. And the moment we get to know her backstory, it all comes crumbling, and that's awful. Like, why at this point that you could have this happy romance, the two of them being lovers and whatever, why take this detour? And it gets worse from there. But in the overall, I say get worse, right? But in the overall plot, it gets much more interesting, really, compared to the first half of the anime. Because at the very least, we have conflict now. We have something to follow on, to see things develop, right? That's just my thing. So episode 17, 18, 19, there is this whole arc where Miyuki, who's Shizuma's roommate and the student council president for Miyato, has to recount to Nagisa all the things about Kaori, because apparently who really introduced Kaori to Shizuma was Miyuki, and all these things where Miyuki was actually part of the, let's say, the life of Kaori inside the school before she passed away, and all these thick deep lore, let's say. Although it's not thick and not deep lore, but you get what I'm saying. And Shizuma just crumbles all together. She begins to skip school, skip all of her duties, and just be overall depressed. And we have this part where Miyuki really starts to stand up more as a friend, more as a component part of the cast that really tries to push the plot forward, to put the main romance we want at that point, that is Shizuma and Nagisa together. She really starts to look good, at the very least for the audience. The intended, let's say, the objective at this point is to push Miyuki as a good person, as someone who's a good character for the story, let's say. And then we get at episode 21, we get the end of the Kaori arc, let's say, where Shizuma kind of snaps out of it. She gets back together, kinda, and let's just say she actually finally, after 2 years, she, I would not say frees herself, she actually says goodbye to Kaori. In a matter of speaking, she, I would not say frees herself, but again, she just moves on. It's a better way to say it. And then she comes back to be the, let's say, the Etoaro, right? Let's keep at that. So from episode 22 onward, we get this really, they really just wanted to put more context towards the ending, more stakes to be proven towards the Etoaro election, because at this point you already know more or less what will happen. Amane will get Hikari to run for Etoaro, although Amane at this point does not want to run for Etoaro because she just don't have interest in it. And you want to see Shizuma and Nagisa as Etoaro in the end, although Shizuma will graduate in the next year. So anyways, and then we have episode 22, that is let's say the end of the arc of Kaname and Momomi, more of the beginning of the end, let's say. Episode 22 really starts kind of strange because we just see Kaname and Hikari in the screen, and Hikari just straight out coming out and saying that Kaname is a coward because she doesn't want to face Amane head on. And that triggers something in Kaname that kind of begins to change her, let's say. And basically, right, she begins to have this vision of herself as someone lower than Amane, because Amane is just perfect. Whether or not that's beatable or wrong or anything, I don't know. The thing is, it comes out that Kaname really tries to convince Amane to run for Etoaro, although she doesn't want to. They have this, let's say, duel. It's a tennis match that they begin with this whole speech about being the model for the whole school and all, and it's not about you, it's about all the other people that look up to you and all and all the hopes they have. And it ends up with Amane finally first wanting to run for Etoaro, and second finally wanting to commit to her relationship with Hikari, which is the good part. I thought it was really wholesome. And then episode 23, oh my, episode 23 and 24, oh, they hurt so much. They hurt so much. Oh boy. Episode 23 begins with the following premise, let's say. At this point, Shizuma, to cope with the fact that she said goodbye to Kaori and that she wants the best for Nagisa because she understands that at this point she hurt Nagisa so much and all. She tries to distance herself from Nagisa, although she knows that Nagisa still loves her and all. Shizuma really tries to be not cold, but strictly distant from Nagisa. And for the most part, right, for some reason, and this is really out of left field, like, it comes out just because they want the plot to run this way. For some reason, Miyuki at this point begins to seem like the bad guy in the whole scheme of things, because she, for no reason whatsoever, she comes out and says, I will decide who's going to be Miyato's candidates for Etoaro. And for some unknown reason, she chooses Nagisa and Tamao together to be Etoaro. And this is really, really messed up in so many ways. Because at this point, right, Tamao is kind of accepting the fact that Nagisa really loves Shizuma, but she kind of wants to run yet because there's this mystic kind of thing they try to implant, although they never say it directly, that anyone who wins the Toaro election end up together, let's say. It's never really explained, but you can infer from everything they say, combining everything. And the thing is, right, Tamao loves Nagisa at this point, and she kind of sees her chance, let's say, but she's reluctant at that point. And when they finally come to face Nagisa with this fact that Tamao and Nagisa were selected to be the candidates, Nagisa runs off, eventually crosses with Shizuma, and Shizuma, being distant, she just tells her off, like, go there and be Etoaro with Tamao. And that's really painful. It was really oh boy, it's so awful. Like, 3 episodes from the ending, I know that Shizuma and Nagisa will end up together. I really hope so, because at this point I really think someone at the studio just had a hate boner for the main girls for some reason, because everything the fucking anime is telling me that. And like episode 23, and Tamao was going to run for Etoaro with Nagisa. Like, what? Are we going to get a baiting switch at the last minute? I don't know. And the thing is, right, at this point, I don't want Tamao to run. I want Shizuma to run with Nagisa. Even though she's going to graduate, I want them to stay together. Not Tamao. Tamao's unrequited love. Again, the girls in the goddamn cover are not going to end up together, although the cover is like that. Like, just take 1 minute to look at this episode thumbnail, right? Take 1 minute to look at it. The one with the red hair is Nagisa. The one with the white hair is Shizuma. How can you tell me that 3 episodes to end this anime, they will not end up together? How are you saying to me that 3 episodes left to develop some kind of a plot, they are not going to end up together? How? And I was livid at that point. I really just wanted the word to explode and fucking send it. I was just chugging along at that point, because oh boy, I just want to bash it in. Like, at this point I would just make the review really angry, like I am right now. I'll get to that because the ending is terrible. But anyways, so this is episode 23. Shizuma just throws all the balls on the ground. Nagisa just straight up just kind of becomes really depressed. And Tama is really on that middle ground between I really want to end up with her and I really don't want to fuck it up. But she's kind of compliant and kind of wants to run more than reject the whole thing altogether. But that's not the worst thing yet. So episode 24 is so bad. Episode 24, two things happen, right? The first thing and the worst thing is that they pull this amnesia mini arc with Amane for some reason. So the whole conflict of the last episode was in Miyatora, and for some reason they just go to speaker to show Hikari and Amane nearly committing to the bit because Amane would finally confess her love and finally admit that they would go out and date and be lovers and whatever. At that moment, for no real reason, Amane gets in an accident while horse riding in front of Hikari because whatever. And then amnesia happens. Oh boy, how I hate amnesia arcs. Oh boy, I hate it. And it comes to the fact that the amnesia is not the one that she does not know the people. She just does not remember everything related to Hikari, basically. And that really hurts, right? Because at this point, their relationship is the best one in the whole anime. It's the most developed one. It's the one that you really root for the most part. It's the one that, contrary to the one between Shizuma and Nagisa, Hikari and Amane are really, really cute. They do these cute things to each other, and it's really, really cute. They don't... it's just wholesome, and for some reason they just put this unnecessary pity conflict with 2 episodes to end the whole anime. What in the hell was Madhouse thinking? And this goes on towards the episode 25. Like, what in the fuck? And the other thing, right? Just, this is the lesser of a thing, but anyways, following this whole thing about Miyuki really being the bad guy at the end because whatever, she starts to train Tamao and Nagisa to be the Etoara, because at this point Nagisa is kind of just coping with loss because Shizuma in episode 23 basically reject her, and Nagisa is just coping with the fact that yeah, let's just be Etoara because whatever, we need to for some reason, I don't know. Oh boy, this pissed me off so bad. And it's really bad. So episode 25, at the very least, we get one good conclusion, right? After some kind of really chain of events, really weird chain of events, some things that you just go like, what is happening? Amane regains her memory as Hikari sings to her, and they make it out. Let's just say again, things that you would not expect in a Christian onboarding school, but it's wholesome, and it was pretty good compared to everything that happened till now. This is gold. This is pretty gold. And with one episode left, you would think, well, I think it all went well. Shizuma will make the baiting switch and run for Etoara with Nagisa. Maybe. I mean, at this point, you would expect. And so we get to episode 26. I'll be the guy, right? I spoiled everything already, and I don't really care, really. That probably nobody will even listen to this episode. But the thing is, right? I have this one saying that when I say something gets cheesed, is because we have this thing in Western culture most of the time that if you add melted cheese to something, it will improve it. It will, so add melted cheese to anything, pasta, whatever, it gets better. And for the most part, it's true. When I say something gets cheesed in an anime, is that they get the good ending by making one of two things: the least effort, or just putting something really out of left field, out of nowhere, in the middle of the plot, just to save it at the last minute. Let's just say that 6 minutes to end the whole anime in episode 26. 6 minutes. So we're 18 minutes in, the levels of cheese rise first abruptly and go really, really high in a way I could not really expect. I was really hopeful for a bait and switch for the whole episode. I could not have predicted that they would take the last quarter of an episode to try to save the whole plot. That's terrible. And that's why this anime is really, really bad. But that's not... actually, back to reality, right? I already spoiled the ending. Yay! That's about the story. That's not even the first thing I want to bash in yet. So... I already talked about the story. What about the other things? So, the anime came out in 2006. It was made by Madhouse. And again, talking about my opinions about the anime, right? First thing, the animation is atrocious compared to everything that came after and before it. First thing, this came out in 2006. It does not have action scenes, granted, but the animation is terrible. The anime is made by Madhouse in 2006. Do you know what Madhouse released in 2006? Death Note came out in 2006, made by Madhouse. 1 or 2 seasons later. So tell me again, how can this anime be made by the same guys who made Death Note in the same year and be so atrocious? I don't understand it. And also, just to say it, do you know what came out in 2005? Blood Plus came out in 2005 and would end in 2006. Blood Plus has really good animation. And as I already said, Death Note was really, really good in animation too. Some people may say it's the best animation they ever saw. Some people. I'm not one of them, but anyways. The fact is, the same studio that animated Death Note animated this. And the animation in this is atrocious. It's really, really bad. That's the first thing I want to say. Second thing, the story is really bad. I don't really recommend this to watch. Watch it if you want to see the story beats, the things that I glossed over. If you want to try to say that I'm wrong and that I give too little credit to this anime, please be my guest, watch it. But to me, this anime is bad. I don't really recommend it. I don't recommend it. Like, it's just 5 out of 5. It's barely competent, passable at most, and really you can do better with 26 episodes in a romance setting. That's my take at the very least. So basically, I already said so much about my opinion in the whole anime, the whole thing. About the manga, this is the thing that really pisses me off, right? The manga in the first volume, straight up just, they get the romance rolling so fast so fast. Amane loves Hikari straight up, no padding. Shizuma loves Nagisa straight up, no padding. Shizuma gets over Kaori really fast, and you may say it does not have development. In the manga it appears as though it's not really a heavy burden on it or anything. But the thing is, right, the manga tells the story so more direct and without this unnecessary extra context they try to add in the anime, that somewhat I would really want to read the rest of the manga, because I wanted to see what else I could say that the manga is better than the anime. Because at some point it just seemed to me that the guys at Madhouse did not want to work in the whole thing. It's so awful altogether, considering the pacing, the things that happen, how the girls react to some things, and that to me is just awful, just awful. I came here to see Yuri and I don't know, old ass art style and animation. I ended up with just the art style and the animation, although the animation was not really good, so just the art style. And that's about it, really. That's about it. Just before I start with my normal shilling, just a spoiler for the next few episodes, maybe. For those who lived in Latin America and Europe, I think, in the mid-thousands, you may remember, if you had cable, you may remember Animax. I found the old, let's say, the program grid for Animax in the mid-2000s, and some of those anime that I saw are some of the things I really wanted to see with a better head, because back then I was 8 years old, maybe. So I went to watch those shows nowadays, and so just a heads up for the next episodes, maybe I'll be doing reviews on those kind of things, because some of those things are just so nostalgic for me, and some of those are going to be first experiences, because oh boy, this is going to be good. So anyways, if you like my rant, me spilling out this unintelligible rant, please follow me, please subscribe, depending on the platform you are. Like the show, please share with your friends. I'm trying to get up the audience a bit. Always more audience is always better. And join the Discord, and if you like it, please do those things. I really hope you enjoyed it. I really hope you stick around, and see you next time. Bye.